Albert Einstein's early academic career, 1908 to 1933, a journey through science and turbulence. In 1908, a young civil servant in the Swiss Patent Office was nearing the end of his sabbatical from government work. This man, Albert Einstein, had already shaken the scientific world with his 1905 Annus Mirabilis papers, but he was still considered an outsider in the world of academia. As his civil servant days wound down, he secured a modest but significant position, a junior teaching role at the University of Bern. This marked the beginning of a journey that would forever change not only Einstein's life, but also the course of modern physics. From Bern to Zurich, Einstein's rise in academia. In 1909, Einstein's lecture on relativistic electrodynamics at the University of Zurich caught the attention of prominent physicist Alfred Kleiner, who was captivated by the young scientist's brilliance. Zurich was quick to lure Einstein from his junior role in Bern, offering him a newly created position as an associate professor. For Einstein, this was a step up the academic ladder, but for Zurich, it was a coup. The city was gaining a rising star. It didn't take long for his career to further ascend. By April 1911, Einstein was offered a full professorship at the German Charles Ferdinand University in Prague, which came with a new challenge: Austrian citizenship. At the time, Prague was part of the Austro-Hungarian Empire, and in accepting this prestigious position, Einstein had to become an Austrian citizen, moving into a different political and academic world. His time in Prague, though relatively short, was incredibly productive. He published 11 research papers, each contributing to his growing reputation as one of the most forward-thinking physicists of his era. Returned to Zurich, a theoretical powerhouse. By 1912, Einstein had the chance to return to his alma mater, ETH Zurich, and take up a chair in theoretical physics. His courses focused on the complex yet fascinating subjects of thermodynamics and analytical mechanics, which allowed Einstein to delve into molecular theory and the mechanics of heat. During this period, Einstein's attention also turned to an idea that would become one of his greatest legacies: the development of a relativistic theory of gravitation, the first steps toward what we now know as the general theory of relativity. One of the keys to his success during this time was his collaboration with Marcel Grossmann, a close friend and mathematical expert. Einstein had the creative genius to formulate profound ideas about the physical universe, but Grossmann's deep knowledge of differential geometry, the mathematics essential for Einstein's developing theory, enabled them to lay the theoretical groundwork for what would soon become a revolutionary understanding of gravity. The Berlin Offer, tempted by science and love. The spring of 1913 brought two influential visitors to Einstein's door in Zurich: Max Planck, the father of quantum theory, and Walter Nernst, a leading physicist in thermodynamics. Both were on a mission to bring Einstein to Berlin. The offer was irresistible: membership in the prestigious Prussian Academy of Sciences, a directorship at the soon-to-be established Kaiser Wilhelm Institute for Physics, and a chair at the Humboldt University of Berlin. These positions would come with a professorial salary, but no teaching obligations, freeing Einstein to focus entirely on his research. But the professional allure was only part of what made Berlin enticing. His cousin, Elsa Lowenthal, with whom he had developed a deep personal relationship, lived there. Berlin was not just a place of scientific opportunity, but also of personal connections. Einstein accepted the offer, and by April 1914, he moved into an apartment in Dollym, a district in Berlin, ready to begin the next phase of his career. World War I and Einstein's pacifist stance. No sooner had Einstein settled into his new role in Berlin than Europe was plunged into the horrors of World War I. For Einstein, a man who had always valued peace and intellectual freedom, the war represented a deep personal and moral crisis. In October 1914, when 93 prominent German intellectuals signed a declaration, known as the Manifesto of the 93, that supported Germany's military aggression, Einstein was notably absent from the list. He refused to endorse what he saw as a senseless and destructive war. Instead, Einstein aligned himself with a small group of intellectuals who signed the manifesto to the Europeans, a call for peace and unity. His stand against the war isolated him from many in the German academic community, but it also solidified his reputation as a man of principle. Despite his pacifism, Einstein's scientific star continued to rise. In 1916, while the war raged on, he was elected president of the German Physical Society. A year later, the Kaiser Wilhelm Institute for Physics, delayed by the war, finally opened, and Einstein was appointed its first director, a role promised to him years earlier by Planck and Nernst. The Nobel Prize and growing recognition. While Einstein's work in Germany continued to garner attention, it was in 1921 that he received his most significant public accolade, the Nobel Prize in Physics. Interestingly, the award wasn't given for his theory of relativity, which was still viewed with skepticism by some in the scientific community, but for his explanation of the photoelectric effect, a discovery that laid the foundation for quantum mechanics. The Nobel Committee's citation, cautious in tone, reflected the ongoing doubts about some of Einstein's more radical ideas, such as the particulate nature of light. It would take the work of physicist S. M. Bose, in 1924, to fully win over the scientific community to Einstein's vision of light behaving as both a particle and a wave. The recognition did not stop with the Nobel Prize. In 1925, Britain honored Einstein with the Royal Society's prestigious Copley Medal. Internationally, he continued to be celebrated, receiving honorary memberships in prestigious academic institutions, including the Royal Netherlands Academy of Arts and Sciences in 1920 and the American Academy of Arts and Sciences in 1922. He was elected to the American Philosophical Society in 1930, further cementing his status as one of the most celebrated scientists in history. Einstein's final years in Berlin, a tumultuous exit. Einstein's years in Berlin were marked by extraordinary scientific achievements. Between 1913 and 1933, he completed the general theory of relativity, a monumental contribution to physics that transformed our understanding of space, time, and gravity. He also made crucial contributions to quantum theory, including the Einstein-de Haas effect, and developed Bose-Einstein statistics, which would later become key to the field of quantum mechanics. However, the rise of the Nazi regime in 1933 marked the beginning of the end for Einstein's time in Germany. As an outspoken Jewish intellectual, Einstein became a target of increasing anti-Semitic sentiment, and the Nazi Party's rise to power made it clear that staying in Germany was no longer safe. In March 1933, shortly after Adolf Hitler became Chancellor, Einstein resigned from the Prussian Academy of Sciences and left Germany for the United States. Einstein's departure marked the end of one chapter in his life, but it also began another, his years in exile, during which he would become not only a scientific icon, but also a global symbol of intellectual freedom and moral courage. A legacy in motion. Between 1908 and 1933, Einstein's life was a whirlwind of academic triumphs, personal challenges, and political turbulence. From his early days as a junior professor in Switzerland to his groundbreaking work in Berlin, he continually pushed the boundaries of scientific thought. But what sets Einstein apart is not just his scientific genius, but also his steadfast commitment to peace and humanitarian values, even as the world around him descended into war. As he prepared to leave Germany for the US, Einstein was more than a brilliant physicist. He was a man whose legacy would transcend the laboratory, leaving an indelible mark on both science and society.